Hoping to move into contention for a title shot. Al has a look.
30-year-old Alex Garcia is a heavyweight in waiting. Seems to have been a heavyweight in waiting, as he beats just about every journeyman you can imagine, like Ladislao Mahangos, a man who always seems to get beaten. But Alex Garcia is happy to beat them as he waits his turn. He will beat Rocky Sikorsky, for instance, and do so convincingly, which not everyone does, even up to including the likes of Michael Dokes. And then we will see him beat people like Jerry Goff, a young heavyweight who thought he had title aspirations. But all the while, as Garcia wins, he awaits the big shot, which might come in October against the likes of a Tommy Morrison. And then finally, this 30-year-old will know if he is a title contender or perhaps even a champion.
There is big Alex Garcia, stands 6'3", and he has won 12 in a row, his last 10 by knockouts, but maybe stepping up a bit here in competition. Mike Evans has been rolling along well. A late starter in boxing. He really was a wrestler early in his athletic career. Let's take a look at Al's keys to victory.
Ironically, they're both late starters. For Garcia, I think it's important for him to really go after Mike Evans and throw combinations. When Garcia doesn't throw his combinations, looks for one-punch knockouts, it's a problem for him. Evans has better experience against better opponents. He should use that to his advantage, and he's going to have to take this, I think, into the later rounds where he might be able to do some good against Garcia.
That sets up our main event. Mike Evans and Alex Garcia. Here are the introductions from ring announcer Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, Top Rank Incorporated, in association with the undisputed, undefeated King of Beer, Budweiser, presents the featured bout of the evening. This bout is sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Chairman Luther Mack, Commissioners Nat Carasali, Dr. James Nave, Bruce Lane, and Dr. Elias Ghanem, Chief Inspector Mark Ratner. Physicians at ringside, Dr. James McLennan and Dr. Joseph Heflin. The timekeepers, Jim Carpenter and Steve Benzel. The three judges scoring this bout on a 10-point must system are Doug Tucker, Bert Clements, and Herb Santos. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the El Dorado Hotel and Casino here in Reno, Nevada, it's Happy Birthday USA, and let's get ready to rumble! 10 rounds of boxing. This is in the heavyweight division. The referee for this contest is Mills Lane. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the red trunks with black and white trim, weighing 236 pounds. He's from the Windy City, Chicago, Illinois, and brings a record of 26 victories, 18 KOs against 5 defeats, 1 draw. Ladies and gentlemen, Mighty Mike Evans. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the solid black trunks, weighing in at 217 pounds. He's fighting out of Los Angeles, California. His professional record, 23 victories, only 1 defeat, 19 KOs, ranked number 11 in the world by the WBC. Ladies and gentlemen, the San Fernando Hammer, Alex Garcia.
Garcia, he wears a tattoo right across his midsection, San Fernando.
Okay, now, Mike, if you go right there, I'm not going to call it low. Now, if you go right there, I'm not going to call it low, all right? We've already been through the instructions. Any questions here? Any questions here? Let's get it on.
Scheduled for 10. One-time L.A. gang member, Alex Garcia, spent 5 years in prison. And across the way, Mike Evans, one-time neighbor of Al Bernstein in Illinois.
That's
from
true.
Fort Heights, Illinois.
From Chicago, south. I lived on the south side of Chicago, not too far from Mike Evans.
Check the knockouts.
You can see the power edge to Garcia, but of course we have to take into account, as we said, the fact that maybe hasn't been in it with exactly some of the top guys that Evans has been in with. Although certainly it's not that big a difference in the level of competition.
Evans has been in, as you mentioned, with Tony Tucker, Tony Tubbs. He lost decisions to them. He has also sparred with Mike Weaver, Mike Dokes, Harry Coetzee, Tim Witherspoon, Buster Douglas. So he's had a lot of good work. Mike Evans started as an All-American wrestler in LSU and made the U.S. Olympic team in 1980. The team that did not go to Moscow boycotted the Olympics that year.
Felt he had a very legitimate chance at a medal there. About the time when USA Wrestling, fortunately, the Olympics were changing and we were getting a good chance to win. And he just walked into a boxing ring one day after that and he said, I'm going to try this, and he did. Tentative first round. Both men trying to figure out just what they could do. That's Garcia's calling card, the jab and the straight right hand, and that's what he gets people out with. He doesn't have a devastating left hook.
Ooh, a quick left there that grazed Evans.
Evans would like to trade left hooks with Garcia. That would be the optimum for him. He thinks that his left hook might get there better and with more power.
Alex Garcia's only loss was KO at the hands of D. Collier in November of 1988, and D. Collier is now his sparring partner.
And, you know, to face Collier at that early stage in your career, it's tough. He's a tough guy. Early on, Mike Evans did face some guys that he faced Tyrell Biggs in his 5th pro fight and lost in 6 rounds. But got things back on track. He's had a change in at least advisors, not management. And Al Lira, who's been working with him, has done a very good job. Terry Claiborne, who is training Mike Evans. Yeah, did I say Al Lira? I meant Terry Claiborne. That's what I meant to say. Oh, but I said Al Lira, even though I meant Terry Claiborne.
Tough to choose from in this round. Garcia has thrown a few more punches. Not all that much happening as we reach the end of round 1. Alex Garcia in the black trunks, Mike Evans in the red.
And for the first time, Evans starting to use his jab now, which Garcia threw 56 jabs in the first round. Look at this. Oh,
Evans didn't work much, and Garcia didn't land much.
9% landed. Oh, man. Mike Evans very economical in that first round, I think we can safely say.
You mentioned Terry Claiborne, the new trainer who's been working with Evans since November. As the train comes rumbling through the Southern Pacific going through behind us.
It's interesting when you're outside like this and you have all these different things happening.
They have tried to change Evans, who's been a brawler throughout his career and a toe-to-toe fighter, to a little bit more boxing style.
And I'll tell you what, if he doesn't use his jab, which he's starting to do this round, nothing's going to work. He's going to have to get in and really bang with Garcia, which isn't necessarily the worst thing for him in a certain way, I don't think. I'll tell you, the left hook is there for Evans. When he dips down, that's the one thing, that one punch Garcia can really be hit with. Now there, Garcia landed his own left. Evans needs to dip down and bring that left hook from beneath.
Evans starting to mix it up a little bit now. Garcia landed a couple of good shots.
He almost made him mix it up. See, Evans needs to jab, then get down low and rip the left hook to the body and the head. That would be there. See, look at that punch can get there.
Quick left hook by Mike Evans. Evans starting to use the jab a little bit more. Garcia comes right back with his.
Now both men using that weapon, as you said, a little bit more.
Most of Garcia's jabs are landing on the gloves of Mike Evans.
Most everything by everybody is landing on the gloves. Not a lot of punches landing here. Some getting through, but the percentage very low, obviously.
This is Garcia's 3rd fight this year, Evans' 5th. Evans has done some home cooking his last 4 fights, all in Illinois. Combination left hook, straight right for Evans.
Just so I don't confuse people, Al Lira, of course, trains Alex Garcia. Terry Claiborne is the man that trains Mike Evans. He's the one that has gotten him into, they feel, better shape and in a position where he can do more as a heavyweight.
And several similarities with these two fighters. For Alex Garcia, also new management with Norm Kaplan signing a new deal with him last November, and Alira stepping in. Nice combination by Garcia. The straight right got through. Garcia looks like he's picking the pace up a little bit here.
He's landing the jab and the right, and that's what he does best.
End of round 2. Is away on assignment covering the Tour de France. I think he brought his bike, but he's not going to race.
Well, he was thinking of being the pace bicycle, I think, for the thing. Yeah, Barry's going to be gone for a while. I won't see him until he and I are both about 62 years old, I think. After he comes back, I'm going off to the Olympics. You'll be here on the 23rd when neither of us will be here, and you're going to hold fort here for the next month.
I'll do my best.
Great.
Sam Rosen along with Al Bernstein. We're outside the El Dorado Hotel and Casino in Reno, Nevada. This is round 3 scheduled for 10. Alex Garcia in the black trunks, ranked number 11 in the world by the WBC. And the man in the red trunks, Mike Evans. And the punch is thrown. Garcia throwing but not landing much.
Interesting, and I gave Garcia the last round, but obviously the landing situation is pretty close. I think that though a change in style may be important for Evans because Garcia is starting to get the jab and the straight right hand in. Evans has got to find a way to neutralize that either with his own jab or come inside a little bit more and make this a little bit more of a rumble.
Good jab by Evans. And another one.
Well, that's how you neutralize a jabber, by out-jabbing him, getting the jab in first. See, the hook is there. I tell you, if you're going to beat Alex Garcia, you mostly will beat him with hooks to the body and the head. And even if that's not Evans' main stock in trade, he does have a decent left hook, and he's going to have to use it, I think. Though right now, he's being effective with the jab.
And the straight right comes behind it. And a good combination by Evans. Garcia tested the body of Mike Evans, which has firmed up a bit. Could still use a little bit more, but he had been fighting at over 250 pounds for a good part of his career. Now he's down to 236.
You're right. You can tell Mike Evans is in at least pretty good fighting condition. You can feel like he's giving himself a chance to win.
Little low with a left hook. Mills Lane steps in and warns Evans.
Mike Evans, really an articulate, delightful man. Oh, right hand.
Garcia with a right hand. Garcia ties up the left as he gets a little breather. Another right hand lands. Garcia backed up. Lots of pressure from Evans. Garcia in some trouble.
And instead of the left, it turned out to be the right for Evans, set up really by the fact that his jab is working.
Big test here for Alex Garcia as Evans comes on with some big punches, but Evans is breathing heavily after that flurry. His mouth is wide open and he's breathing heavily.
Well, he's doing a good job, though, blocking the Garcia jabs and right hands. It's around. Oh, see the hook set that one up. This round important for Evans in terms of confidence, I think.
And the end of round 3. Alex Garcia heads back into the corner. It's Alira.
Can't just take a long punch at a time. You gotta put combinations where you come back to it. Back him up with combinations. A couple of times you have a chance to hit it.
Here is how Evans, using the hook. See that hook set up that straight right hand. When he uses either the jab or the hook, Garcia gets preoccupied and the right can get there. And there it is. You see it again. And that right hand showed the power of Evans. And he was able to get some other shots in as well. And Evans outlanded Garcia 12-4 in power shots in that last round.
Well, a fight with Tommy Morrison may be hanging in the balance for late October. He may fight the winner of this fight. No firm commitment, but that is a possibility. Alex Garcia. A little bit of trouble in round 3. This is round 4.
Mentioned that Evans had fought Tony Tucker in a split decision loss that he fell to 1. Also against Tony Tucker, he lost to him in '89. Lost to Marshall Tillman in a bout he absolutely felt he won, even though he took it on late notice in 1991. So Evans has not been blown out by people.
And he says that Lennox Lewis and Riddick Bowe backed out of commitments to fight him.
Yeah, he claimed, and there you look at the numbers, that Bowe, he still, he says, has a contract and a plane ticket from the fight with Bowe as souvenirs, as he put it. So,
looking at those numbers, Evans threw more punches and landed a lot better. Good accuracy. Let's check Al's scorecard. Close fight.
Gave Garcia the first 2 rounds. The second one especially was a close round, and then Evans, of course, the third. So this is a small ring. We talked about it. Neither of these men are bothered by that. Though they're boxing, they're not moving that well. So it's not going to favor one man or the other.
Garcia trying to set up the right hand that just missed, landed on the gloves. If it's a test of stamina, Al, who has the advantage? Again, a caution to Evans. That may be the last one he'll get.
Well, I think Mike Evans is used to going 10 rounds with tough guys. Alex Garcia is not used to doing that. I mean, he hasn't been 10 rounds since 1989 when he boxed Eddie Gonzalez. And I think that Mike Evans might have a little bit of an edge there.
Right hand landing by Garcia. Evans not following up on a good third round. He hasn't done much in this round. There's a good combination, though. That same left hook, straight right that worked in the third round.
When he throws the jab or the left hook, it takes Garcia by surprise, and then he can land the right. I still think the left hook's going to should be a weapon for Evans. There he throws it to the body. It disrupts Garcia. This is why Tommy Morrison is such a tough matchup, I think, for Garcia. He's got that devastating left hook, and it will bother Garcia. There's the right by Garcia, but doesn't seem to be bothering Evans so much.
Garcia's trying to mix it up a little bit, going to the body occasionally with the jab, trying to test Evans, but hasn't thrown many body shots.
Very close round here.
Once again, Garcia's thrown more punches. Evans had that brief flurry, trying to land the left hook there. Most of it was blocked. End of round 4. Welcome back. Outside the El Dorado Hotel and Casino in Reno, this is Sam Rosen along with Al Bernstein. Glad you're with us for Top Rank Boxing. This is round 5, scheduled for 10. Mike Evans in the red trunks, Alex Garcia in the black. And what has developed into a pretty close fight.
It really has been. Both men have been able to do some things well, but neither enough to dominate. A little more movement from Garcia. These are not super mobile heavyweights. Even though they're boxer-puncher types, they don't move that well.
Evans just isn't busy enough, Al, it seems to me.
Now that's a problem. You know, Garcia's thrown so many more punches than him. And even though Evans has done a very good defensive job by and large, he may suffer from the lack of punches in the judges' minds. He's blocking those rights by Garcia. There, the jab got in, but most of those not getting in. But Evans, so, as you said, is so economical with his punches.
The wind whipping up, as we mentioned, outdoors here in Reno.
A little chilly for these boxers right now, truthfully. I mean, they've worked up a sweat, now that wind chills them.
Coming down to the midway point. We apologize for a little technical problems. A little power hit. We're at the midway point, a minute and a half to go in round 5.
And in this round, you can see Garcia throwing so many more punches to this point. It's going to be tough for Evans, even though most of those are blocked or missed by Garcia. It's going to be tough for Evans to come back here.
It seems as if he has a tendency to throw arm punches at Garcia.
Yeah, he does, and that's a problem for him. But when you're throwing so many...
1 minute left in round 5. That time he threw a pretty good right hand.
See, the left hook is right there for Evans. It's interesting. He early on, he was able to get that punch in. Now he isn't even throwing it. He hasn't thrown a left hook in about a round and a half.
To the body or the head or both?
Either one are good. A double left hook to the body and the head, in my opinion, if he kept doing that, he'd win this fight hands down. I mean, it'd be easy. But he's not able to affect that punch.
Garcia trying to land the right hand. Evans has been pretty good about blocking him.
So look at when he threw that left hook, Evans. The right hand followed right after it. I mean, it's really an important thing for him. I'm dwelling on it, but because it's a different dimension. Otherwise, he's just standing in front of Garcia doing nothing.
Garcia stepping in, throwing 3-4 punches at a time, being effective.
Evans is fighting this round like he's a sparring partner, not looking to win.
Time winding down in round 5 as Evans lands a right. Mike Evans coming out for round 6 against Alex Garcia. Getting to that territory, as you mentioned, Al, where it'll be a test for Evans to see if he really wants to win it.
He's going to have to go after him. Now, even at this, look at this. Now, see, I'm saying this, and you're saying this, and yet when you get right down to the numbers of punches landed, Evans is leading against Garcia. And yet, as much confidence as I have in Punk's profile, and as much as I believe in it, I assure you, Garcia is ahead on the scorecards by maybe 1 round or so.
I think the judges have to be aware that Garcia is the man that's really dictating the pace of the fight to this point, I think. This is Top Rank Boxing coming to you live from outside the El Dorado Hotel and Casino in Reno, Nevada. This is Sam Rosen along with Al Bernstein. Barry Tompkins away on assignment at the Tour de France. Glad you're with us. And in the ring, Alex Garcia, number 11 in the world by the WBC in the heavyweight division. Mike Evans with his back to you. And Evans with a sharp jab. He just hasn't thrown enough of them.
And I think part of it is that Garcia's kept him off balance with his jab. Even when that jab is not landing for Garcia, it's keeping Mike Evans on his heel. They have to devise a way, and I'm sure Terry Clavin, a good right by Garcia, is thinking of that to disrupt the rhythm of Garcia.
Garcia's dropped in a couple of good rights. Evans fighting back, but Evans got rocked by a right hand.
Mike Evans reducing himself to now see, there's the hook. He's reducing himself to trying to just wing a right hand.
Garcia just missed a right. Landed a grazing left. Evans on the defense. Garcia really opening up here in the 6th.
And whenever Garcia opens up, it forces Evans to punch.
Garcia trying to back Evans up, and he's done it. A good left hook by Garcia.
Remember, Garcia was hurt early in this bout. I believe in the 2nd round. They trade hooks there, but he has come back strong.
Another good left. Well, the noise you may be hearing is high gusty winds here in Reno. We are outdoors. Garcia, again, trying to set up that right hand, just keeping that jab. Sometimes it isn't a very powerful jab or snappy jab. Evans answers back with a right.
And that right landed for one simple reason, folks. The left was first before it. When Mike Evans throws the jab or the hook, the right hand could follow when he wants it to. Garcia's keeping him from doing that in some respects with that jab. It's because Evans is waiting for Garcia to dictate all the action. He's not going after him.
Jab, jab, right for Garcia, the story of the 6th round. Here's the bell. The Oakland A left. Canseco went on the disabled list today.
And they're hanging right in there in that American League Western Division.
Tied with Minnesota.
It's amazing. They all get back and healthy. That could be the juggernaut it used to be. Meanwhile, speaking of juggernauts, Alex Garcia, 356 of his 456 punches have been jabbed, which doesn't make you a juggernaut, but it makes you a very busy boxer.
In the last round, 89 for Garcia, but look at his percentage.
Yeah, much better than it had been before. And there's the jab from... I mean, it's a good jab.
Evans jab.
From Evans, yeah, it's a good jab from Evans when he throws it, and it just doesn't get it off very often.
Wind picking up and gusting. Al scoring, he has Alex Garcia ahead, 58-56. I have it a little wider, Al, 59-55.
Yeah, and it could easily be that. A couple of rounds very close. It's just, at this point, I think that it's important for Mike Evans to step up in this bout. He really has to. He's got to step up and say, I want to do this. I'm 31 years old. I'm a heavyweight who has an excellent opportunity, which he pointed out to us he did today. He is boxing this bout so defensively now. After he'd hurt Garcia early in the bout, he couldn't follow up. He's just not going after it.
Garcia's done a good job of controlling the pace.
He really has. Let's give Alex Garcia some credit for making Mike Evans be tentative.
And you said it earlier, it could be Mike Evans, 31 years old. He's been a pro for 7 years. He may have that sparring partner mentality.
Yeah, and it's the toughest thing to get around. You don't even realize you have it. And then all of a sudden you're at a critical juncture in your career and it comes to the forefront. And you end up becoming this heavyweight that can go somewhere and test the big guys and go 10 rounds and never win. I know that's not what Mike Evans wants to be right now. And he's dangerously close to becoming it. He's had a series of wins. And in those bouts in which he lost to the big guys, he had shots at him.
Garcia's backing up Evans once again. And make no mistake, this is a very important fight for Alex Garcia. Got the uppercut in. A big win here could vault him into the top 10 in the heavyweight division and put him in line for some important fights.
He turned down a bout with George Foreman a couple times. People criticized him for it. He said, hey, I'm the one that has to fight Foreman. I want to develop at my own pace. I came to boxing late. We talked about the prison stint he had. He said, maybe I don't feel like I'm ready right now to do that. I'm going to go at my own pace. Everybody thought he was crazy. Good right hand by Garcia, but maybe it's working out for him.
And this fight has been fought at Alex Garcia's pace as we come to the end of round 7.
And there you see the uppercut from Alex Garcia. It is a punch that he has not used very much in this bout, but he used it very effectively there.
Dominant round in round 7 for Alex Garcia.
And Garcia threw 89 punches, and Evans threw only 22 in that round.
This is the 8th, and the scoring, our unofficial scoring here at ringside, Al's scorecard, and I cheat off it, is that Alex Garcia is widening the margin.
I have it 68-65. You obviously have it 1 round better.
69-64
for Garcia. And he's dictated the pace. We've talked a little about what his opponent Mike Evans is not doing, but let's not forget what Garcia is doing. There's the numbers that tell the story. And when you throw, so many more punches than your opponent, as Garcia is 545 to 192, you've got to be ahead in the bout. It's almost impossible not to be ahead.
And note this, it's not as if Garcia is swinging and missing when you talk about punches landed and punches not landed.
Yeah.
A lot of the punches Garcia's throwing are landing on the gloves of Evans, which have an effect to some extent.
And if you're not missing by a wide margin, those judges may feel more are getting through. We've seen Punch Profile in which they're determining the punches they feel are landing, but some judge may be more lenient in what he feels is landing. But of course, Bob Canopio and Logan Hobson have a stringent policy about what should be counted as a punch.
Good right hand by Garcia. Trying for the knockout. It looked like thought he had Evans weakened, and he was going for a big one with the right hand. Evans answering back.
And every time Evans starts with the left and throws the right, he gets there. I mean, strategically, this bout is a mess for Mike Evans right now. It really is, because the things that could work for him, he's not even trying to do.
Evans had one moment. That was in the 3rd round when he was effective with that left hook, as you pointed out, set up his right hand. He had Garcia in some trouble. He wobbled him a little bit, but then he never followed up.
He didn't, and I mean, part of it is that Garcia looked at that moment quite vulnerable. And the idea is to back up Alex Garcia. Everyone knows that. If you can back him up, you can make something happen. The left hand, the right land. It's simple. It's ridiculously simple at this point for Mike Evans.
That right hand missed. And that combination taken on the gloves by Garcia. Right hand blocked. Evans has done a good job blocking a lot of those punches, but Garcia has proven that he can go a long way as we come to the end of round 8. Going to the corner, Mike Evans.
right. You got 2 rounds. We ain't gonna wait for the last round trying to knock this boy out, all right? We got 2 rounds to try to knock him out, okay? All right, this round and next round, we got to be working non-stop. Every time you throw the left hook, right hand is working. Try to drop down and get your left hook to the body working. All right, take a deep breath. Okay, you letting it slip right out your hand, Mike. Slipping right out your hand. Every time you catch it with the left hook, come back with your right hand and get the body. All right, how you feel? One more. Go for it, all right? 2 rounds. Hard work. Try to knock this punk on out of here, man.
Alex Garcia throwing combinations, the left and then the right, and lands very well. Same combination from yet another angle. Starting with the left uppercut and the overhand right. Terry Claiborne in the corner of Mike Evans, giving exactly the right instructions. He agrees with me. He said every time you throw your left hook in your right hand, you land. Keep throwing it. Evans doesn't throw it. So he's getting the right advice in his corner, but Mike Evans just not able to follow up on it.
And he's running out of time as we're into round 9. Last time Alex Garcia went this long in a fight was October 24th, 1989, when he went 10 with Eddie Richardson. Since then, the longest was 6 rounds. That was earlier this year in March. So Garcia obviously ready for this fight. He doesn't seem winded. He seems to be in fine shape, and he's kept up a good pace, throwing a lot of punches.
Yeah, and I thought maybe there you see the jabs. And it's interesting, even though the edge isn't huge for Garcia, he's thrown so many more than Evans. But in a way, it shows you, look at Evans landing 51% of his jabs. If he was throwing that punch more, he'd be in business. That's what they've been trying to get him to do, obviously, in the corner. They want the hook also. And where is that hook? You know, it's like, it was there for Evans. And and that's what Terry Claiborne said. So the left hook and the right, and you're going to make something happen. Mike Evans just can't seem to will himself to do it. And the other thing is, when was the last time in this bout Evans initiated any action? It always comes after Garcia initiates.
Probably back in round 3.
And when he did that, he hurt Garcia.
The game plan has been a good one for Garcia. He's kept up a steady pace. Former LA gang member Alex Garcia is now working with former LAPD officers to try to get kids to stay away from the gangs and stay in school. It's been part of himself dedicating himself to his new lifestyle after the prison stint that went from 1980 to 1984.
Trying to give something back to the community and help the people he's been involved in.
Missed with the right hand. That was a stumble more than anything else. Garcia answers with some sharp punches.
Right there is the position where Mike Evans could have come up with the left hook through the body of the head that could have meant something. Tactically, this bout just has not been the right one for Mike Evans. Not even close. He's allowed Garcia to stay within what he does and does the best. And Garcia's just stayed with it.
After his sustained flurry in the 3rd round, a good one for Evans, he was breathing heavily. Since then, he's just never been the same. It's as if he'll throw a couple of punches and say, well, I might get tired if I throw any more.
Yeah, it's true. It feels that way, Sam. And you hit it on the head at that point. Amazingly, he was tired after that flurry.
Straight right hand got through. Evans looking a little tired, taking a big breath. Another right hand getting through for Garcia at the end of round 9. So the punches that had been blocked by Evans getting through.
What you do with that right hand? I do it straight. Huh? I do it straight. You hit it good. Because the shit is hitting it. Doesn't matter if you hit him in the head or whatever. Just keep him in defense.
Coming up, following Top Rank, Mike Evans, blood in the mouth. He's got to have a knockout.
This is it.
Yeah, they even told him Terry Claiborne.
Right from the chin, Mike.
Unless those Philadelphia judges are.
Yeah,
no, they didn't make the trip.
They didn't make the trip. The 98-92 guy didn't make it either. I may never let them forget that. I may be obnoxious about that for about a year because it galled me that a boxer that did so well was hurt by the judges, although he ended up getting the win. There is the last time for these guys going 10 rounds, when you talked about Garcia. But yet, despite that, Evans has not has not performed well in these later rounds.
I've given him just the one round, just the third round.
Yeah, it's been a very poor, it's ended up being a very poor showing.
See the numbers? Garcia's worked. I mean, he's not a dominant heavyweight in my book, Al, but he certainly has worked well in this fight. It's been a good fight for him.
He has done what he needed to win, and he's a very busy guy who, in truth, if he can avoid being knocked out by a big puncher, always will give himself a chance to win with those numbers of punches. His danger zone will be against the big punchers. It would be a very fascinating bout between he and Tommy Morrison, but he would have to stay away from that big left hook of Morrison. That could be real trouble for Garcia. He's susceptible to that punch.
That could happen October 30th. Morrison set to return then in a fight in China, and possibly against the winner of this fight, possibly Carl the Truth Williams or maybe Alex Stewart.
And Michael Carvajal apparently is supposed to be on that card as well.
This is the 10th and final round. There have been no knockdowns. It's been a steady paced fight for Alex Garcia. He has rarely taken moments off. He has kept that jab busy.
30 seconds, Mike, 30 seconds.
And he has come with a right hand behind him.
A very workmanlike effort by Alex Garcia.
Evans has been backed up again.
And Evans' lack of offense has given Garcia a chance to really gain confidence and fight with a lot of confidence. See, they traded hooks there. Who got the better of it? Evans did. When they trade hooks and Evans throws that hooks with conviction, look at him. He threw the hook and he hurt Garcia. It's amazing. I mean, in the 10th round with 46 seconds left to go, the thing that Terry Claiborne's been asking him to do, the thing he should do, he's finally started doing. Look at the hook. It's the answer for him.
Got to go back and look at tapes of this fight and see those things.
He dipped down and threw the hook. Look at what a difference in the last 30 seconds. At least he's put himself in the bout. That's a shame to see that, because, and it's not as if his corner didn't tell him to do it. They did. And I'm sure, it's not that Mike deliberately. There's the hook again by Evans.
But Garcia answering back with a flurry that stopped Evans momentarily.
And now Evans tired as well, as is Garcia a bit.
And that's it. It goes the distance. Alex Garcia looking for his 13th consecutive win. His knockout streak is broken. He had won his last 10 by knockout, but he'll take that for a decisive victory over Mike Evans and probably a jump into the top 10 in the world rankings.
Yes, it was a very, very good effort by him. You look at that man, Mike Evans, who the other people that beat him by the distance were people like Tubbs and Tucker, so Alex Garcia, and who might have beaten him more decisively than those people did. And in the last round, Evans threw 52 punches in the 10th round, more than he's been throwing in other rounds, and he should have done that a lot earlier. There you see the total numbers. Clearly Garcia ahead in the total numbers, and maybe by more, because that's the determination of punch profile. But when you throw 700 and some punches, some judge is going to think maybe more got through or more landed. And Alex Garcia did what he needed to do here.
A tribute to how hard he worked throughout the fight, a steady stream of punches, and he really worked for this victory.
And how hard he worked.
Victory.
Yes, I agree. And how hard he worked going into this fight, Sam, which is the real place you need to work.
Next week, we'll be at Harrah's Hotel next week. Here's the decision from ring announcer Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, all three judges scored about the same. The scores, 98-92. The judges are Doug Tucker, Bert Clements, and Herb Santos. For the winner by unanimous decision, the San Fernando Hammer, Alex Garcia.
No doubt about it, 8 rounds to 2, 98-92 the official scoring. Alex Garcia 24-1, looking to move into the top 10. We'll be back. Al will be talking with Alex.
Located in Miles City, Montana, featuring 2 top lightweights in Todd Foster and Jeff Mayweather.
Meaningful question. I don't know how Miles City got its name, but it's miles to the nearest city. And yet tonight the circus comes. It's all about hits. He's handed out his share, and he's been one. Here in Big Sky Country, he's a favorite son. But a funny thing happened to Todd on his way to the title. He got whacked by Jimmy Paul. That was his first loss. And for Todd Foster, it was goodbye bright lights. Hello, Miles City. Jeff Mayweather, meanwhile, has been waiting. waiting for Mr. Foster to decide he's ready. Mayweather's a graphic artist with designs on a title of his own. He hopes to paint Todd Foster in a figurative sense. So grab the kiddies. We're going. Well, there are 10,000 people in the city of Miles City, and right now, 3,000 of them are right here at Denton Field.